This is Road to the Golden Door, where we unpack the proven success formula straight from the minds of Golden Door winners, uncovering the motivation, methods, and the mindset it takes to become an elite performer in door-to-door sales and in life. This is Road to the Golden Door. Now, here's your host, Mikey Lucas.
Welcome back to the show. We have a first-year door-to-door salesman and hit a golden door in solar. So I am excited about this one. This is a gem. So Josh Earle, welcome to the show, brother.
Thanks, man. It's good to be here.
Yeah, man. So let's jump right into it, man. So I know that a couple years ago you were a missionary. Where'd you start a mission at?
So I was in the Philippines until COVID hit, and then I got yanked out of there and finished it up in St. George, Utah.
Okay.
So,
Okay. All right. Yeah, there's still people that need to get saved in St. George. Just because it's like the Bible Belt.
There's a couple.
That's right. And then you were a camp counselor the year before, so 2021, and then you got recruited. What happened?
No, it's actually crazy. I was going to school what would have been like 2021, fall of 2021. It's going to BYU, loving life, having a good time, and then had this feeling like I needed to move home because there was something bigger, and had no idea what that was. But I moved home to Houston for a little bit, and then pondering, thinking, talking to my parents, praying, like really trying to figure out what the next step in my life was. And people had tried to recruit me a lot, and I'd always turned them down. But I woke up one morning and I was just like, door-to-door sales is what I need to do. It's something that's hard. I knew that sales would be a skill I'd utilize for like the rest of my life if I learned how to be good at it. So I was like, cool, I'm going to go. And I heard somewhere you can make like 20 grand selling pest control. So I was like, sweet, if I can make 20 grand and go travel the world, that would be sick. And so reached out to everybody I knew that did it, talked to a whole bunch of different companies, and then landed in Florida last March. So
I love that.
Yeah.
So tell me, for everybody that doesn't know Josh, what is your story?
What is my story? How long do we have? You want like the 5-minute version, the 2-minute version?
Put it into the 5-minute version. That way, that's usually where I get all my questions from. Or I've already got a couple from what you just said. So.
Okay, dope. Yeah, so Josh Earle, I was born in Anchorage, Alaska. My dad was in the Alaska Air National Guard, so he's a pilot up there. All my family history goes back to Alaska, back to like the 1940s. So it's all just like mountain men and just rugged Alaska boys. So I was born and raised there. It was a ton of fun. Then when I was 13, my parents moved to Florida to take a job with the Coast Guard flying search and rescue. And so literally just like corner to corner of America, right? It was crazy. So I dropped down there. What's that?
Fort Lauderdale?
I was in Clearwater, like Tampa area. So I was there, actually literally an hour north of where my office is now, which is pretty cool. And so, yeah, I was down there. I was that weird Alaskan kid, had zero social skills. I was homeschooled all growing up. My parents, Alaska is kind of a whack school system. And so I got pulled out of school halfway through first grade. And my parents just had like bigger goals and dreams and stuff for me. And at a young age, my parents were teaching me about mindset and kind of just like chasing your dreams and that anything's possible if you work hard enough for it. So yeah, I ended up in Florida. My dad worked there for a year before kind of acting on everything they always told us of just like chasing your dreams and doing things even if it's uncomfortable. And so we bought a school bus in 2013, converted it into an RV, jumped on board and like traveled America for a year. And so that was my first experience with something that was just like totally crazy, not socially acceptable, just kind of whack and like way far out there. Fell in love with the outdoors because of that. Ended up really for the next like 6 years of my life just bouncing around different states, different towns, my dad started, he accepted a contracting job in the military in Afghanistan. And so he would be gone for a few months. So the family would just be able to travel and just go do whatever. So I moved like 27 times before I ended high school, which ended up, I hated it. I hated it, like making new friends and stuff, but ended up being a blessing with kind of the social skills and stuff. You had to learn to meet new people and really get good at breaking the ice really fast. And so that was my childhood. And then when I was 18, we were living in Houston, Texas, and I got a mission call, serve a mission for my church out in the Philippines. And that had always been something I wanted to do. That was something super important to me. And so I shipped off over there for like 15 months, got sent home for like 2 or 3 because of COVID, hung out in California because that's where my family was at, jumped back over, went for 6 months. I was in St. George, like I said. Wrapped up, went home to Pearland, Texas, south of Houston, because that's where they'd moved while I was on my mission. And then, yeah, I went. I was a church camp counselor and a climbing instructor over the summer of 21. Had a ton of fun, just like lived the young college kid life. I was 21 that year. Went to school at BYU for a semester and started twitching. I was like, this is awesome. I had good grades. I had friends. Life was good, but I was just like, so growing up traveling with like all that and just moving around and having new experiences and everything and being like pushed to do hard stuff. School just wasn't cutting it for me. And so that's where it kind of connects with the story I told earlier of, yeah, just bouncing and heading to Florida. So yeah, there you go.
I appreciate you sharing that. And that's not one we've heard before on the show.
Yeah, it's a crazy one. It's wild. So there's your 5-minute version. I could go on for hours about it. So
what's some of the coolest things you saw while you guys are traveling?
so in terms of just my family, we like really stuck to the US. So it's just like your average, like saw a lot of Texas small towns, ate a lot of good barbecue, coast to California, did a ton of rock climbing. But once I was like 15, I started traveling international a whole bunch. And so by the time I was a junior, senior in high school, we were like, when I was 17, I took my 14-year-old brother to Everest Base Camp, and we were out in Nepal for like a month and went up there. Went to Israel for my 18th birthday for like 2 weeks. Yeah, Costa Rica, just like wherever I wanted to head. My parents were always supportive of it, and so found a way to make money and bought the plane ticket. So
How did you find the money?
that is a great question. It's actually cool. It's a little bit of a longer answer. So again, kind of childhood in Alaska, my dad was always super entrepreneurial. And so when I was born, he was actually, before he was a pilot, he was a carpenter, did a whole bunch of like cabinetry, just like hard labor, which is very Alaskan. Like Alaskans just work, man. And they like put their shoulder down and just get her done. And so that was really like worked into my personality. And my dad growing up, he would always say like, I won't do it for you, but I'll work right alongside you. So if we ever needed anything, he was down in the trenches with us, but he wouldn't give it to us. So I never had an allowance, never given anything like that. But I wanted to start a lawn mowing business. Somehow a lawnmower would magically appear in my garage, and then my dad and I would go knock doors. And I was like, literally, I was 9 years old out there, me and my older brother knocking doors, selling homes, mow your lawn for $20. So yeah, just random stuff like that. And that really instilled just like if you want money, there's money out there and you can work for it and you got to work for it. But if you know what you're doing, you can get it and people are wanting to support you. And so, yeah, that's full of a whole bunch of stories. I'd put on my scout shirt and walk down the street with my green Crocs, homeowner can't deny a cute kid in a scout uniform. So I romped, man. I killed it on those streets. So that was like my childhood. As I got older, it switched to photography. That was what I found when I was like 16, 17 was the most lucrative for something that I enjoyed, but also was just super, like the time freedom was pretty incredible. And so I was like, cool, I'll go shoot a wedding for however much. And then I don't have to work again for a month and I can just go run around. So.
Okay. All right. All right. I see you. I see you get out a lot.
Yeah.
Um,
I
Okay, so let me ask you a couple of things. Let me ask some direction questions here. What Let me make a statement first, actually, because one of the biggest things that I will absolutely force my children to do. So if you're watching this, kids, yes, daddy's going to force you to do this. The reason why is because daddy knows best for now. Until you're 18, then you can do your thing. I will absolutely make my kids go overseas, and they need to see not only what's overseas, but also what's in our city, what's in our backyard. Them traveling, seeing not just the opportunity, but the need for them to be successful so that they can solve world problems. To me is one of the coolest things I can do, and encourage to keep my kids to stay motivated and humble at the same time. Prideful in their work, taking pride in what they do, but humble because they know that they have it really, really good, and they can go to bed and be like, wow, this place that I'm in right now, this is not what some of my refugee friends are staying in. So it's a different mindset. So I love that you travel, and I'm looking through your Instagram. I see like the camels, and you're in all these different places. And oh god, it looks like one of these is I don't even know, India maybe, but looks like even maybe
Yeah,
went down to Brazil.
yeah, all over the place.
Yeah. So tell me some stuff. Tell me some. So let's talk about your mindset first. What did that do? What did traveling, seeing? Because I'm sure it happened to you, because it happened to me. What there's this thing called reverse culture shock. You get culture shock when you go out there, and then you get reverse culture shock when you come back. You're like, whoa, dude, and they didn't really tell you that. Not until I went on my second mission trip. That was I told was I told, hey, look, now you understand what reverse culture shock is now. Yeah, to me, reverse culture shock was actually worse than the culture shock initially going in. You're just like, dude, like we have it so like ridiculously good here. Anything we want. I mean, literally, that's why it was easy for me to go do door sales, because I was just like, that's the worst this is going to be. Get told to F off. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Sounds good. Got it. That's why I didn't quit. I didn't do very well my first couple of years. Anyways, tell me about your mindset, man. What was I know that you traveled a lot growing up. We did too. We had an RV. My dad still has the same RV, so we traveled a lot. We did a lot of family stuff like that. So I can relate with you there. That was a big thing for us. We'd go fishing, go to lakes, go to California, Utah, stuff like that, Arizona, and we did that a lot growing up. So that's like our pastime. I really, really loved those moments. Those memories were very fond memories. So tell me a little bit about lessons that you learned, or those. Let's even talk about like almost like mountaintop experiences, if you will, that you got while you're out there. Was there any vision that you saw, or like was Josh, you're gonna be this great our salesman? Was there any of those moments, or what was that like?
Mikey, that's the question, man. You said I knew you were gonna be good at this, but that's like the question. I'm glad you came across that. So, yeah, man. Um, Traveling, and specifically traveling in the outdoors and doing hard things, was literally the thing that like created Josh Earle. Got in my head. Um, a vision per se, like for sure, I've had some really cool, like borderline spiritual experiences and everything, but if I were to like try to crawl back in my head and describe one of those, I wouldn't be able to tell you. But
Sure.
I think more than that, it's just been like a steady compilation of growth experiences, right? So growing up, my family motto was do hard things. And that was one of the reasons we were homeschooled. My parents were looking at high schoolers that they were around when we were really young, and they were like, dude, like, what are these guys doing? Just like dorking off, screwing around, messing around. Like the hardest thing, quote unquote, they're experiencing is like girl problems, or like their US history class. And it's like, are you serious? Like, and my dad growing up or not growing up, but being in the military, there was like, he was doing like some actual hard stuff. And they were like, we don't want life to start when you're 18. Like the capacity that young people and kids and teenagers have is significant. And so part of that, there's actually this book I read. I recommend it to everybody. It's a homeschooler book, but it's these two twin brothers. It's actually called Do Hard Things. Super easy read. It's like a young adult book, but that's the entire concept, is that we're just made for more and that we need to expect more of people before they're 18. And they actually don't even use the word teenager. Like, teenager is a modern creation with the Industrial Revolution. You were either a child or a man or a woman, right? And so that was my parents' thing. They're like, dude, grow up, you can do this. And so the way they raised me was really cool, in the sense that they'd push me, but they always made sure that I was on like a 10-foot safety rope, right? And so I'd fall down, I'd screw up, I'd mess up, it'd be tough. But kind of with that, yeah, like traveling, first time ever traveling international, I was by myself. I was 15 years old. They threw me on a plane to Costa Rica to this like mentor that I was coaching with. And they were like, good luck, go find him. And I remember wandering around, I think it's San Jose, I think is the airport down there, wandering around the San Jose airport, like I can't find this guy. I'm this big, I was like 6'4" when I was that old, and just like dorky kid that had like never done this. And I'm like, how do you get out of like customs? Like, how do I get through immigration? Like, I remember
Then you get
flying
mauled. You
back.
get mauled by all the taxi drivers. Like, I'm going to take you there. I'm going to, a white, tall American. Oh my gosh.
By himself, just like deer in the headlights, 100%. So, like, that experience, it people have it so much harder, right? But at my age, at that point in my life, that was so tough, and I like made it through it. I survived the San Jose airport, right? And so in my brain, that was just like ping, like, you just did a hard thing and you can do it, right? Um, and so just setting up experiences like that, where I was always expanding my comfort zone. And my parents were always like, do hard things, do hard things. And there were times where literally I would be like preparing to go on a 200-mile backpacking trip for a month and like leave my family and all this stuff. And I was like crying the night before I got on the plane, like, I don't want to go do this. Like, this sounds like it's going to be so fun, but it's going to be so hard. And they'd be like, you can do it. Like, you can do hard things. And they would always recognize it was hard. They're like, this is hard, but you can do hard things, right? And so, um, in terms of just experiences traveling and in the outdoors, like, for sure, I had a ton of specific experiences that were really cool. But I think in a broader sense, just growing up with a family that was like, yeah, you're going to go climb this mountain and it's going to suck, but it's going to be good for you, you know? So, yeah. Anyway, sorry, that was probably not quite what you were expecting, but
No, you're good. You're good. Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's the same thing. It's people ask me that all the time. Like, what was those experiences you got? And it's like, I almost don't even want to tell them, because then there is times where it comes up in my story and stuff like that, where I talk about the spiritual experiences that I've had. And I'm like, dude, I don't want you to glorify the experience that I had and then be like, well, I never got that. Or I'm like hoping that I can get that, then I will. It's like, no, dude, like, you don't, there it is right there. There's your spiritual experience. Bada bing, bada boom. It's like in the Lion King, when the homie, Rafiki or whatever his name is, hits Simba. Anyways.
I
Yeah,
love yeah, I love that.
but yeah, I wasn't trying to necessarily ask specifically for those, because I know that, I don't know, for me, that there's been times where I've had like dreams and visions and revelations and things like that, where it doesn't make sense, right? Like, 10 years later, you're like, oh, that kind of makes sense now, right? So it's like, what else am I missing, right? So you kind of point the dots together. But I don't think if you're not like, for one, spiritually in tune with that side of your soul, it's hard to catch those really cool things. And a lot of times, I think it's almost like a guitar or a piano. You have to tune in that spiritual side to understand the voice, understand the song, the melody that's there, right? So yeah, no, I appreciate you sharing that, dude. It's cool. I think we're gonna have a really good time on the show. So, tell me this. What obviously, I think this whole thing's going to be about do hard things. But what were some of the things that you just failed in? You completely failed in, like, wow.
Good one. So there's like so many. It's like, where do I even begin?
I apologize. Let me be very specific. I want you to talk about. Let me bring you back to the Golden Door year, this past year. In your Golden Door year, what were some of the big things that you like, dude, you really messed up?
Hmm. What did I really mess up?
Or where'd you fail at?
There were a lot, man. There were a lot. I feel like so Synergy, we're a setter closer model here, and there were so many times when I could have just pushed harder, and like gotten the setter paid and and done a better job in a close to try to get them, to wrap it up. Like people, the crazy thing is like when I was early on out there in the summer, there was all this talk like rates are going up, rates are going up. It's the same thing everybody talks about, right? And of course I believed it, but for me at the end of the day when I was new out there, it was just a sales pitch, right? It was just something that we say. And then LCEC, the power company in Cape Coral, just freaking exploded in like July. I think it went up. I can't even remember. In like some places, it felt like 30%, and people
Whoa,
were literally like coming out on the streets, like literally like, please get me solar. Like I was getting phone calls from people. Um,
30%?
Probably not 30. It's
Well,
probably like
close, 20, 30%
17.
still.
Yeah, still, it was a ton.
Josh, I was just in PG&E territory last weekend in
Hmm.
Fresno. Dude,
Yeah.
36.2% this year
Okay.
already.
Yeah.
And people are like,
Yeah.
bro, I'm like, I don't know. If you don't have solar here, this doesn't make sense because they just raised it 36% on top of what they did last year, which was like 18 to 25%. I'm like, which is not even including what they did prior years. Like, I agree with you. The whole sales pitch thing, not to cut you off on that, but the whole sales pitch thing, I struggled with the same. This is now 10 years later for me. They told us that too. And I felt guilt actually. Like, why didn't I close those people in all those cities? And I let them, even though I knew I was giving them the best deal, the best product, the best company, or one of the best companies, right? Like, why didn't I push harder? Because now they're paying double for their energy bill in most cases. And yeah, I don't know. I feel you.
No, 100%.
I just got slapped in the face right now too. I'm like, oh wow. Because
Yeah,
yeah,
because
dude, I thought they were lying to us. It's like, it's like, oh yeah, the rates are going to go up. It's like, sure they are. They haven't yet, because
yeah,
then your homeowners tell you, oh, well, the rates haven't gone up in blah, blah, blah years, and no, my rate hasn't changed. Boom.
literally. Well, no, and that's the crazy part. It's like I'm sitting there like saving people money, but it's like I'm tired. Like, oh, I don't want to try that hard right now or whatever. But it's like, and they're like, oh, like the one that always got me was like some like solar's always going to be here, and you're always like, yeah, but like things are going to change, and then literally the rates go up, and at the same time the rates go up, the interest rates go up, and now it's like like we're now we're at like bill matching, if saving people maybe $5 or $10, but I think of all these customers, there's one in particular that's like in my brain right now where I was kind of like I really liked them, and so I kind of turned off my sales brain a little bit, and I was just like, yeah, I'm not going to try to get you to sign today. Like I want you to sleep on it, I want you to think about it, like knowing full well what I was doing. And then they were like, yeah, it's not the right time or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, I totally get it. Like freaking stupid. And now they can't get, well, they can get solar
Well, they're
now. And
not.
I
Yeah, they're
hope
not
they
getting
do. And
1.99 or 0.99. They're not getting any of that. They're not even getting 2.99.
exactly. And
Dude, I feel you're bringing it up, bro. Jesus, made me feel guilty right now.
yeah. So yeah, just stuff like that, man. Like I would say that's the hardest. And then just not hitting the goals that like I wanted to. Like I came short on a financial goal, which sounds stupid, like having like earned like pretty significant
Yeah.
stuff. But I don't know, just like the random goals you set, the random things you want. I think the number one thing that I failed in, and something though for anyone listening, and this is what I'm focusing on with my team this year, is fitness, like taking care of your body, because it's like that's the one thing, like in your life that like you can't lose. Well, you can lose, I guess I should say.
Yeah.
Um, but kind of the most important thing. And that was like being new to door, being closing, literally working 14 to 16 hours a day. You just like stop by and get a 4 for 4 and then roll on to the next deal. But that catches up to you real quick. So now we're trying to get back in the fitness game. So, um, yeah, that's like huge. That was a big failure for me, I would say.
Right on. Let's jam on that. Let's dive a little bit deeper in that really quickly. Tell me about I want to talk about specifically goals. So not last year. Let's talk about this year. Um, Not it's interesting because some Golden Door guys and girls are all about their goals. They're very structured, very this is exactly what I'm going to hit. This is reverse engineer like to a T. I am that way to a certain extent, but not all of them are like that. So I really like for the listeners when they hear certain Golden Door Award winners, they relate to the ones that obviously. Well, I don't write down my goals every single day. I only do it on Sunday, or I do it once a week, or I do it on New Year's resolution or whatever. So we just passed the New Year's, right? We're filming this in February. So what were some of your February or January 1 goals? Like, did you do resolutions? Did you do, evaluations? Like what do you do? What does Josh do for evaluating, looking back?
It's a good question. I feel like there's the things that I should do and the things that I actually do.
Sure.
So
Yeah, no, let's just talk about those. Yeah. Again, it's like I told you, not everybody does. Yeah. Yeah. Not everybody
right on.
every day.
New Year's resolutions this year, didn't really have them. So I actually broke my back on December 17th and then got strep over Christmas and New Year's. So this year, New Year's was pretty like solemn. I'm back up though. I'm like doing good. I think I'm 8 weeks since then, or like however long it's been. So I'm chilling. That was a miracle. If we want to talk about miracles and doing hard things, breaking your back, not a good time. But in terms of goals and everything, didn't do New Year's resolutions this year. That being said, goal setting and more than goal setting, but like vision and manifestation is like hugely important to everything that I do. So coming out of this year, it's actually funny. I did not go into last year like being like, I'm going to earn a golden door because I didn't even know what a golden door was. And then I found out about it in June. And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Be kind of sweet if I could hit that. And I'd heard through the grapevine you had to have like 200 closes. And I was like, there is no way. Like, I am not going to get 200 closes for a golden door. I actually didn't even know I earned it until like December 20th or something like that. So in terms of like that and goals for this year, like most of them are for my team. So I'm running an office with my older brother that I brought over to Synergy, which I'm pretty stoked about. And so goals are to have the like number one office in all of Synergy, like the whole company. I feel like we have a pretty good shot at that. I have some goals for my guys. Like we want a couple golden doors coming out of the office. We want at least like 3, which is pretty crazy, seeing that we have 7 closers total. And then there's other stuff, but really for me, it's more about like a 5-year vision and a 5-year plan, and then kind of just action steps, more like of what it takes for me to get from here to there. I don't know. Goals for me have always been kind of funky because it's like I prefer to just think about what I'm going to do and then just choose to do it.
Yep.
And then I just work on the action steps to get there,
Yeah. No, and I think that's totally fine. I don't think you're wrong for that. I think this is really funny because I say this a lot on the show. I am the self-proclaimed anti-guru. I'm like the turn off the motivational speaker on YouTube guy.
Nice.
Yeah, dude, like I don't think people need to have, obviously there's a level of mindset that comes into this, and there's, obviously doing hard things, like you challenge yourself, stuff like that. But like, for guys that don't set, it's not consistent. We have to lower the bar of expectation and get small micro or mini habits moving and get momentum. And then learning what destroys momentum, I think, is key. And obviously you have momentum. And for instance, if I said, hey, when you retire at 64 and a half, what are you going to do? Like, we can't even, millennials and 20 to 30-year-olds, we don't even think about that. That's so far out. How old are you, Josh?
22.
Yeah. So it's so far out to think triple your lifetime. Like, at 65 and a half years old, that's literally like the retirement age or whatever. It's like, that's triple your lifetime. That is so far out. My mentor, Paul, says, hey, look, you got to break he has me doing this right now, where I'm breaking my goals down to 14 days, nothing further than 14 days, just 14 days. Because what that does for me is it creates this like one of my other coaches says you're like the Tasmanian devil. You go like really, really fast with like no direction. That's why I have Paul and a couple other coaches. But yeah, 14 days. So tell me a little bit about this. You have a 5-year plan. What kind of does that look like? Just kind of describe that. That's kind of like, to me, that's would be almost like your end goal. So I guess I can ask you that, like, Josh, what's your end goal? Like, how do you exit door to door?
How do I exit door to door? I love door to door, so it's kind of funky thing about exiting, but within my it's more my 10-year plan is kind of
Sure.
exiting door to door. So I'm not that guy that's like, I want to go start a huge solar company and like grow it and then
Yeah,
get
don't do it.
acquired and all
It's
this
the
stuff.
worst thing you could ever do. You'll make so much more money, have a lot more fun, a lot more freedom doing exactly what you're doing. Starting
Yeah,
your solar
no,
company, I can put you on the phone with like 15 guys right now. Not fun.
that's kind of what I picked up listening. It was actually to the Sam Taggart's podcast. Like he kept talking. I'm like, yeah, that sounds miserable. Like, why
It
would
is.
I never say never. Like, I'm not going to say that
Sure, sure.
if that's the direction I'm pulled in. But for right now, with where I'm at, it doesn't fit. And so my whole thing, so central to my life as well, has been mentors and coaches. So the guy that I was visiting in Costa Rica, when I was 14, my mom met him, and he was at that time he was a youth coach and a youth mentor, and so I met with him twice a week for an hour over Zoom back in like the dawn age of Zoom, which was funny. And we would just talk. So him and I are both religious, and so we'd like study scriptures together one day, and that was like spiritually focused. And then the other day, it was all like education, mindset, kind of the do hard things concept, right? And so I've kind of just I mentored with him significantly. He's the one I went to Nepal with. He's the one I went to Costa Rica with. He like led a whole bunch of these events, and then we kind of just stayed in contact. After I got home from my mission, we went and tried to climb a volcano together in Mexico, and just got completely slapped upside the face. It was crazy. But I stayed in contact, and then he gradually like he started with youth, and then he went on to like adults, and then he used that to kind of launch into like executive coaching, and now he like mentors and coaches with really successful entrepreneurs and like CEOs and that kind of stuff. It's been a cool track to like watch him grow. And so he just kind of floated up outside of my price range. Even like what I was like willing to work for, I was working as a climbing instructor. Like I wasn't living the life that deserved that kind of coaching. And then I got into door to door and I started coaching with him immediately. I was like, hey, Greg, it's time. Like, we're back on. Still use him as a coach. He coaches my brother and I now together as managers. Um, all that to say that my entire life has like, I've always valued coaching and that kind of stuff. Um, and so what I'm looking for and what I'm really truly wanting to do, and something that I see a lack of in the door to door space, is um, effective coaching in the hardship, utilizing the outdoors, right? And so, um, my goal within the next decade is to make a large enough name for myself in the door to door space, as not only a salesman, but also an effective leader and a good man. That is huge for me, as like a good person doing it ethically, as a good friend, like someone people want to spend their time with, all while holding on to this habit of like adventure and hardship in the outdoors, mountains, that kind of stuff. We're the summit office, which is pretty fun.
Nice.
And yeah, within a decade, begin to transition using my own team and the people under me, taking them backpacking, mountaineering, traveling, adventuring, like doing like really hard stuff. But with my expertise in that, train them up, prove that it works, and then kind of start reaching out and branching out and kind of just extending what I grew up with for like everyone else. Kind of like reach down and pull up, right? So
Dude, that's awesome. What?
yeah, I get excited about it. It makes me smile.
Dude, let me know when you do that. I would love to be a part of that. That sounds like a freaking fun time.
100%, man.
Yeah, I'm in the process right now of building a 55-foot sail catamaran. So
Nice.
really like I'm gonna. My wife doesn't know this yet, but I keep telling her like, yeah, we're gonna like sail like where the U.S. Coast Guard's at only for a while, and then I don't really tell her what I want to do. I want to circumnavigate the globe.
So sick, man.
Yeah, dude. So exciting to do that. I'm going down this year. Last year was like, oh yeah, I want to do that. That'd be kind of cool. This year, I'm in the process of getting accepted into a course where I'm going to learn how to circumnavigate the globe on a sail catamaran.
Doesn't it make you like like kind of freak out? Like
Yeah,
even
where
just
the
saying
U.S.
that, you're
Coast
like,
Guard's not there. Yeah, of course that freaks me out.
yeah, but like thinking of like that's what we were put on this planet to do, is like that is life. And like that's why we do what we do. Like that's why you go bust your balls on the doors.
Yep.
Is like it's not about the doors, it's who you become on the doors.
Boom.
Right? And you use who you become on the doors in life and everything else, right?
100%.
And it's not like you can like literally flip that. It's not who you become when you're out freaking midnight in these massive waves in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, right?
Yep.
It's who that turns you into be, right? Anyways, yeah, it's cool.
There's a quote. I was on a plane this morning flying home from San Diego, and I was just going through my phone, going through some old photos, and I was trying to find some like content ideas for some stuff and for my mastermind, Golden for my mastermind. And I was putting together some stuff for like these next few calls. And I came across this quote that was in screenshots. Anything I like to screenshot. And like I've got this like in my iPhone, an album of quotes. This one wasn't in there, but this is what it says: 6 months of hard work, of hardcore focus and alignment can put you 5 years ahead in life. Don't underestimate the power of consistency and desire. You have what it takes to become the best that you can be. Don't ever doubt yourself. Harness your power, exceed your expectations. 6 months of hardcore focus and alignment can put you 5 years ahead in life. Bro, what do you think about that? I wanted to go on that, but I want to hear what you think of that.
I feel like we could both go off that for like an hour. That is why I chose to do door to door. Like door to door was not the end goal. I was some like picture taking mountain climbing hippie this time last year that was like, I'm gonna go sell bug spray for 20 grand, and then I'm gonna bounce. I'm never gonna touch it again. I'm just gonna go travel the world and like live my life, right? Like live it. And then I saw the bigger picture and I was like, ooh, okay, I can do both a little bit here, right? But that was literally my mindset, and that was my parents actually were the ones that kind of like pushed me towards door to door sales, which is funny because I feel like most people's parents kind of like keep them away. But that was exactly what they were saying. They're like, dude, you're at that point. They're like, was I 20 when I started this? No, 21. I was 21. They're like, you're 21. Like you literally have 70 years of life ahead of you, right? If you screw up now, who cares? It's 4 months. And like worst case scenario, you go out there, you make enough money to like pay your bills, right? Hopefully you don't sink into the red, but like you pay enough for that. And guess what you just learned? You learned that you can go bust your balls in the freaking hot out weather in Florida, get yelled at, get denied, get turned down, and like you can survive it. Sweet. Most people pay to have that experience, right? So I was like, yeah, you're right. And so I kind of transitioned my brain from I only do cool hippie things to like, no, this is a hard thing just like a mountain, but mountains had gotten into my comfort zone. And so this was outside of my comfort zone. And it was 6 months, seven. I think I was out there 7 months. It was 7 months of like intense work. And yeah, it put me way more than 5 years ahead. This thing put me like decades ahead in my life, right? And so yeah, I love it. I love it, love it. So
Yeah, man. It's funny because how true that statement is. And people just, I don't know. I don't know what they do, Josh. I don't know. I think it's cool because Kobe Bryant says like, I don't get people like that. I don't want to get people like that. I don't want to understand why you think like that. And I kind of agree. I'm still have a strength in individualization. So I still don't want to like, no man left behind kind of concept. But, that was probably in my career, that was probably one of the harder things I had to do was leave people behind. And it's not that I left them behind, but I had to, I had to be selective, the whole, like one of the cool things I learned, I think it was from Jim Rohn. He talked about how like, you have 3-month people, 3-day people, 3-hour people, 30-minute people, and 3-minute people. And like understanding which people to put in those kind of like categories, because it really, I mean, you are who you hang out with. And if the 30-day people or 3-day people are people you hang out with most, their mindset's going to roll off on you. So, but yeah, dude, I don't know. I mean, I think that's kind of where I was at when I was your age, starting door-to-door sales, same age as you, and about the same age, right? And I was like, dude, like if I can just try this. And I was just talking to one of my students. I coach at my coach and mentor at my church as well. And one of my students who's now about to be a sophomore in college. And I just was telling him, I was like, hey man, like you should go do door-to-door sales. You should go sell pest control, make $20,000, $30,000. Right. And he kept talking about solar because he knows I had sold solar, but I was like, you should just go sell pest control for now. Right. But see, I don't know. He probably will sell solar. So he's like, I don't know. I was like, yeah, go sell some pest control. It's probably a lot easier for you. Yeah, dude, like how if you just get focused and aligned for 6 months, that's what separates people, bro. I knew that if I could so I think that the main motivator for me, Josh, when I was a teenager, 19, 18 years old, I was 19. I was high as a kite the whole year. 20, I'd got sober. Dude, yeah, I've been 10 years sober now, and about a month from now, I've been 10 years sober.
Congrats, man.
Yeah. So thank you. I appreciate that. And, dude, like I knew that I was behind and that my back against the wall, I had to fight. There's, a couple kind of people, 2 type of people, right? There's like 10 people, but like people that work better when they're ahead and people that work better when they're, backs against the wall. At that point of my life, in that specific area, I worked better with my back against the wall. So I knew that if I could just get dialed, it might take me 1, 2, 3 years, but I would be further than the other guys, which is kind of funny because a lot of the guys I was comparing myself to, their parents had money. They had the cars, they had the lifted trucks, they had the boom, 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 right? They had the Audis and the lifted trucks and whatever, right? And I was like, man, like I'm not there. Like if I can just get dialed and focus and move, I might be able to like kind of catch up. I never thought I was going to get to where I'm at now. Really, I never thought that, but dude, just staying focused. And I was like, no, I'm not giving up. I'm just going to go. So that was I don't know. I thought that quote, I really wanted to understand your opinion on that. So 6 months of hardcore focus and alignment can put you 5 years ahead in life, dude. Like, yeah, people can't catch you now, Josh. They're, yeah.
Hopefully they can. We'll see.
Let me transition back to a couple of things you were saying here. Expanding your comfort zone. So bring me into this. Doing hard things. First year door-to-door sales. Like, what were some of the learning lessons you had? Because obviously, not very many people hit Golden Door. There's a couple of guys that hit Golden Door in their first year, but not very many people hit Golden Door their first year. So, what was there other Golden Door Award winners at Sunergy or no?
Yes and no. So both my managers had earned them the year before,
Okay.
but they were not super involved in the door-to-door community, and so they were like, "Yeah, I think we hit that. I don't know. We don't really care." And then I've helped them see that it's pretty big deal, like pretty cool.
Yeah.
And so they got them this year. So it was pretty cool.
They're double Golden Door nails.
Yeah, one of them's double. One of them was more of like the setter manager, and so he was focused more on that side. But yeah, one of them did.
Dope.
I think we had 5 come out of our company this year. So.
Nice, dude. Let's go.
Yeah.
And were they all on stage this year, like at the event?
So my two managers ended up. So they became the co-VPs of sales, and they were supposed to be there. And then there was something going on in our Florida office, so they had to get on a plane the morning of. And so we picked them up for them, but they were there in spirit. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Awesome. That's pretty outstanding, dude. You guys got some pace setters, 5, and then you're looking to do another 3 this year in your specific office, which is outstanding. And you will do that. You lead by example. So, we can talk about that later, but let me go back to this expanding your comfort zone. So you talked about that. Well, let me kind of break me into that. Cause obviously, going from kind of doing what you want as a camp counselor, having time off, having time to yourself. You're not really working the whole time. Sure, you might have longer days, but you're not really working like, you're in houses all day long. You're not doing a 3-4 spot. Like doing a 3-4 spot in a day, you feel really, really good during the whole thing, but it's a hard crash at night. Like you're done. Like you're done, dude. You're done. Like you'll just not even eat. You're done.
Yeah.
You're not brushing your teeth. You're not showering. You're taking your shoes off. You're on the couch or everything. And like, yeah, dude, I've literally fell asleep face first in my bed with all my clothes on multiple times. Like, done now.
Yeah.
With days like that. So expanding your comfort zone. A couple things you said. I want to know about this whole expanding your comfort zone, what that looks like, how you do that, some of your strategies on what you do. Is there any specific strategies you take there?
Yeah. So it's actually,
like, what do you do?
Yeah. I mean, so now there's like, now that I'm, how do I start this? So back in high school and like before door to door, it was really simple. It was like, I would just go learn stuff during the school year, and then summertime, that was my time to hit it. And so expanding it was literally doing stuff like Nepal, right? We were there for a month. I lost 30 pounds. I got food poisoning and altitude sickness. Like, you want to talk about uncomfortable? It was like I was on, like, at the base camp, like, literally ready to die. Like, I was so wrecked to the point where my little brother, who was 14 that night, had to, like, untie my boots for me and take them off because I was just so wrecked physically. It's like a really special story between him and I. But yeah, so all through high school, like, I mentioned the month-long backpacking trip I did through New Mexico, where it's like you're out there, backpacking 200 miles. You're going up a mountain at 1 p.m. with a 70-pound backpack on in broad daylight, just scorching, repeating the little engine that could. And you're like, I think I can. And so, like, that stuff, that'll expand your comfort zone. And you always come back feeling so victorious. And you're like, dude, I'm the freaking man. Like, I did that. Then I was using, it's so weird to like think about, but door to door, because I was planning on only being in it for like a few months, just became an uncomfortable situation. So instead of looking for uncomfortable pockets within it, the entire summer was the uncomfortable thing. And so I was like, I went into it knowing full well, hey, this is going to be hard. It's going to suck. It's going to stretch you. It's going to be uncomfortable, but I'm going to come out the other end a better person, and I can go travel and have fun. And what happened is I came out the other end and I was like, I really liked that. I'm going to go travel and have fun to like stay true to myself, but then I'm coming back and I'm doing that again. It's a little bit addicting. And so in terms of strategies and stuff, it's a little funky because for the people like listening right now, there's so many different kinds of like things we're selling door to door, right? Pest control, you're really on a pretty true like 4-month schedule. Solar, like with what I'm doing, is more like 8 to 9 months. A lot of people do it year round, right? Alarms, kind of like similar thing. And so it's kind of funky finding the way to do it. If I was doing pest control, and I'll tell you like a reason I think all the guys at the grid are so successful is because they put themselves in that summer pipeline and they're like, I'm going to come out the other side of this summer a completely different person and a better person because of it. So I'm not going to try to screw around and go like drinking on the weekends or go party with friends or go like bum around or go sit on curbs. They're like, I'm giving it my all, and we're going to like, this is going to be a blur of a summer, but I'll have expanded because of it. Right. And so I think that's a little tough to do when you're doing like 8 months or a year. It's literally your life. And so it needs tweaking, depending on your specific circumstance. But here with what we're doing for our office, we ramp up and we ramp down. And the 4-month summer, that is like you are giving yourself to the summer. And as we've recruited, we've made sure like these guys know, like, hey, you are joining a team that is committed, motivated. Like, we are in the summer. If you're looking for a team to go like have fun in Florida, like I can hook you up with some pals. But this team, like, we're climbing the freaking mountain and we're going to be at the top of it. And you're going to be proud to say you did it and you're going to like it. Right. And so that's kind of my strategy. It's literally just like, I don't know, suck it up and make your life like pretty hard for a few months so you can enjoy the rest of it. So
let me talk about that really quick. So for you as someone that had that in your life growing up, God bless you, brother. That's outstanding. Now let me ask you about the guys that didn't have that growing up. How do you as a leader because this is something that you've already ran into. If you haven't already, you're going to run into. So now the question I always get asked is, Mikey, how do I lead? You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. You can put salt in their tongue, right? Whatever. So how are you helping your guys do that on a day-to-day basis if you don't have the time in the middle of your summer to take a new rep or even a rep in a slump out on a freaking backpacking trip?
I love that. So I think literally that quote you just said, like you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. I think the part we always forget is that you have to lead the horse to the water. Like you have to get him there, right? And like the literal like first part of that is leading. Like you have to show up and show out, right? The
Wow.
reason I got a golden door is because one of my managers was closing like 3 deals a day regularly, and I was like, I did not come here to be second best. Like, I am not going to get beat out by this guy. Almost freaking caught up to him, Sawyer Rattleback, if you're listening to this. Still thinking about that. He beat me by like 15 deals. It was tough. But he let out and he set the pace. And there were times when I was like actually pissed off that he was doing better than me. But that's better than being pissed off that he's not performing and not showing up as a leader, right? And so I think in terms of like the people listening who are managing a team and trying to get people to get uncomfortable, it's like you can't expect them to get uncomfortable if you're not getting uncomfortable, right? And so when I was tired last year and I was so exhausted and I was like, oh, I didn't close that deal and I could have done it and like things suck, I would just walk over to my manager's house and like Skylar Evans was sitting there with his wife, bless him, just like bags under his eyes, like, hey Josh, what do you need? And I'm like, how much sleep are you getting? Sleeping like 5-6 hours a night, right? Because he was showing up as a salesman and proving he could do it, and then he was showing up for us and guiding us there. And it's like my biggest gripe with not sales. I feel like sales gets a bad rap for it. It's literally life in general. As soon as people move up in management, they feel like, oh, like now I can take a load off, or I can move into like training. That's the entire reason I wanted my 5-year vision is like teaching leaders. It's because like, dude, you signed up to have that mantle. Like you signed up for the weight. You thought last year closing was hard. If you want the money that comes with managing and growing that way, you better be ready to take on the responsibility or you're going to get like slapped upside the face, right? So that's what I say. Like you just have to show up. Like I'm freaking exhausted. We're only a week into this and it's like you got to set the pace closing the deals and you literally have to find time for like everything else. And so that's why putting a plug in here too. A lot of guys don't think coaching's worth it. They can't see the value in it. They're like, meh, I don't need a guru or like whatever it is, right? Get yourself a coach, man. Greg Denning, if you're looking for one, he's awesome. He's got me through everything. But we just had a conversation. He talked about these like magic moments, you know, where it's like, dude, you can't let your personal life die. So you're stopped at a red light, you're like in the bathroom, you're messing around, whatever, like for me, it's a girlfriend, like text your girlfriend, tell her you love her. Perfect. You like have done that. Now you can focus on your team. Now you can focus on your sales, right? So just like making sure you're just balancing everything right. Can't be screwing off on Instagram. Anyways, I could go on for like ever about this. I'm passionate about it. So
keep going. What? Okay, so let me throw you some problems that I deal with probably on a day-to-day basis within my individual coaching clients and within my mastermind. Is right now guys are not working the hours. Okay, so what is, and obviously the answers are the exact same, but what does Josh say about that? How do you get guys to work the hours?
There's a couple things with it. So something we've repeated. So this recruit, obviously, like every situation is different, but what we've done to fix that this year, because we had an issue with that last year. Like there were guys in our office that just weren't doing it. Like to be like complete and frank, like culture is king. And if there's people that aren't working the hours early on, that's going to bleed into everything. You've heard like one bad apple will ruin the bunch or whatever. I don't know.
Spoils the batch, whatever.
Yeah. There were guys last year, and my managers recognize this, that like likely and honestly like probably should have been cut like pretty much immediately and decisively. And like that sucks. They're people, they're friends. Like we recruit our friends,
And
and
they
so that
have families, everything.
makes it harder, right? But by doing that, you show that that's not okay. And so we've over recruited this year, and we're about 20% over what we need for our team for that like perfect balance setter to closer.
Yep.
And we've been really clear with both batches, like, hey guys, like we have more than we need. We don't need you. We want you. We want to help you. This experience is gonna, like truly bless your life. But if you get out here and this isn't for you and you're not wanting to work the hours, you're not wanting to do the job, you're like really struggling and you give it an honest month, like actually doing the things and you truly can't hang, like it's not a bad thing. Like it's just not for you, right? And that's okay. Because for our team culture, like frankly, we can't have someone like that. But for you in your life, like you're gonna be happier getting a job somewhere else, right? And so just be like, cool, shake hands and leave as friends. Like same thing we say when we're at the door or when we're with customers that just don't want to get it. You're like, that's okay. It's not for you. There's somebody else here that it is for, and having the faith and trust that that'll happen. So I don't know. That's what we're doing.
I love that. Yeah, that's I want you to tie into that a little bit because obviously this is your first summer. You've obviously recruited and told everybody that you know about this, and you've got a lot of friends that are all over the planet, let alone the United States. So doing hard things. Tell me about the whole like how do you? Nobody loves to. I don't actually. Well, I know a couple of people that love to fire people, but like how do you go about that? I've got some answers that I'll share with you, but I want to know like how do you go about either firing, letting somebody go, hey, look, this isn't a good fit for you. How do you go about doing that?
So funny, dude, because like this is obviously my first year in sales and stuff. So I haven't truly had to like sit someone down and fire him yet. But 2 days ago, um, there was a rep out here that is doing great, has lots of sales experience. He's a great kid. Love him a lot. Like he's a part of the team. But there were just some things like some tweaks that needed to happen where if those tweaks didn't occur, it would have been like, hey, I don't think this is a good fit.
Yeah.
But you always give them like a chance to change first. And so I called up Jacob and we called up Greg Denning. We're like, hey man, give us some advice. Like, how do we handle this situation? And then Brandon Holmes, I also hired Brandon this year as a coach as well. So I've got Greg's kind of like lifestyle. Brandon is helping me out with the sales side. And so called him as well just to get like two viewpoints. And he said literally the exact thing, which is like, or the exact same thing, which is we sat him down and we were like, hey, dude, we love you. You're awesome. We're grateful you're here. That being said, and in a very specific way, we're like, these are the things we've noticed. These are the things other people have brought up with us. Boom, boom, boom. Being really specific here. We need that to change in order for, the office to be unified, you to have a good experience, and you to be the best salesman and person you can be. If you're willing to change, we're looking for you to do this, this, and this is what you need to do. If you want to be here and that's worth it for you, we'd love to have you. There's a place for you here, and we think you can do great things. If that sounds like too much, that's completely okay. And I will point you in the direction of some other people you can go hang out with that are going to be a better fit for your situation. Because our team is this, right? And he was like, dude, I had no idea. I want to change. I want to be a part of this team, right? And it's been awesome the past couple of days,
Yeah.
Hugely impressed with him. Like huge props for the humility to do something like that and, put up with that. He's going to do great things this summer because of that. So
I love that. No, I appreciate you sharing that. Yeah, I think it's just a major struggle, right? That people deal with all the time. So let me transition really quick. I want to go back to some of your. Because obviously your mindset's there. I think that's outstanding. You're definitely a top 1%er for sure. Obviously coming in and hitting it first year. What are some of the big like motivators? Like why do you get up every day and do what you do, Josh?
And it changes. Last year is like I want to travel, but then when I saw the opportunity that sales was, I saw it as like an a launching pad for who I wanted to be, right? And so I saw that and I was like, dude, I am going full tilt into this thing.
Yep.
And that gradually bled into like, as the days got really hard, I'm a single guy. I didn't have a girlfriend last year, which was probably one of the reasons I got a golden door, honestly. Like I was just completely focused. And but one of the things I reminded myself of, like, you're not going to be single forever. You know, at some point I'm going to have a family, I'm going to have kids, I'm going to have people that I'm needing to balance and help and love and serve, and I'm going to have to be splitting my time. But this summer I don't, right? And so I was like, dude, I'm going balls to the wall. Like I gave it everything. And so I just kept reminding myself that, like, I don't know how many summers I'm going to have like this. And then sure enough, going to the off season, get a girlfriend. She's coming out setting this year. Woohoo.
Let's go.
Stoked to have Emma out here, but we're long distance right now, which is tough. But again, same thing. Like I wake up, I'm like, dude, I'm gonna work hard today so that I don't have to work as hard then, and I can split my time.
Facts.
So
I love that. You said things change. I think that's one of the cool things. One of the misunderstandings that I think a lot of entrepreneurs, and I think not just entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, even watchpreneurs, talk about that in my book. The solopreneur and the watchpreneur, I think, and even entrepreneur and superpreneurs. I think one of the main things that aspiring entrepreneurs forget, Josh, is that we don't have to have it all figured out, man. Like, you're freaking 22 years old, bro. Jeez, give yourself a break. Like, you know, we were, you know, you were obviously homeschooled, but like in high school, and I talk about this in my book, and I talk about this a lot on the internet, is, you know, we were, and this is why I dropped out of college. We were told, and I, you know, if I wasn't in sports, I would have dropped out of high school too. But it's just like you don't need to have it all figured out, but they make it, they basically force it on you. Like, you have to have this thing figured out by the time you're freaking 16 years old going through puberty, you know, because that next year you start, hey, Mikey, where are you going to go for college there, buddy? Start thinking about it. You know, what do you want to do with your whole entire life? 20 years, which really turns into 60 years. What do you want? Instead of being like, go and explore. And it was funny. I sat on this lady, Judy, on the plane today, this older lady. She's 80 years old. And we had a really good conversation, and she was just talking to me the whole time, which was awesome. And she was like, make sure you travel while you're young. And I go, Judy, here's the thing. I was told that when I was 20 years old, and let me show you some photos. And I showed her photos of like everywhere that I've traveled. And I was like, it's people like you, Judy, that is the reason why I do what I'm doing now, because I listened and I was aware. Because the last thing I want, Josh, is to be 40 years old, have kids, and regret, like, man, I wish I could have just done more. I wish I would have called my friend one more time. And I've had, unfortunately, those conversations with myself. I wish I would have made more money so I can give more. I wish I can give more. I wish I would have spent more time with, family and friends. I wish I would have called my mom more. I wish I would have called. And those things might happen here or there, but I want to eliminate the life of regret as much as I possibly can and just full send it, dude. Like, no regrets. Keep going. If you want it, if it's important to you, make time for it. So I don't think that we need to have it all figured out, man. And I'm 30 years old, and I told this to people when I turned 30 last year. I'm about to be 31. By the time this comes out, I'll probably be 31. The scariest moment one of the scariest moments of my life, Josh, was at 30. I do a reflection every single year. One of them is around my birthday. I do them really 4 to 5 times a year. And one of the scariest things was going back through, where's my book at? I've got a ton of these notebooks that I write down goals, affirmations, right? Like things like, things that I learned in the day, whatever. I always have this thing on me. It looks like this right here. I write down notes every single day. Sometimes just one-off stuff. Otherwise, it's like 10 to 15 things that I write down pretty much every single day. Sometimes they change. But I hit everything that I said I was going to do by the time I was 30 when I was 20. And I got sober at 20. And I was like, I'm going to go and do this. And honestly, it was kind of crazy because I was like, oh, yeah, I'm going to get $5,000 a month in passive income. And as of today, as we're filming this, I'm at 27,600 and change in passive income. But that's not the cool part. Everyone thinks that's the cool part. It's how much of that I'm actually giving away. So I don't work for Mikey anymore. I don't work for my mom anymore. I don't work for my wife anymore. I mean, I don't have kids yet, but when we have kids, I don't even work for them really. I work so that I can continue because they're already taken care of. They're good, bro. I work because there's specific groups, specific causes that I want to. And again, I know this is not for everybody, you know, and sometimes people are like, whatever, like, oh, Mikey, I don't relate with you on that. But I like to give back, bro. And that's a big thing for me, like seeing and traveling. And I want to support missionaries overseas. I want to support, you know, organizations overseas that need help. Like, bro, like there's an organization in Ethiopia that I've served at multiple times. And, dude, their operating cost for 1 year is like $53,000. I'm like, I've done that in a week before, bro.
Yeah.
I almost did that in a day. I almost did that in a day. And that's what it costs to run their business in a year. So it's like things like that motivate me to go forward. And I know I don't know. It's easy. I would say it's easier to say that once I was clear on the direction that I wanted to go. And then that was one of the big things that one of my mentors, Dave Allred, said. And I'm going to paraphrase it, but it basically was like, you know what, if you have clarity on where you want to go, you design the life that you want. When you're knocking, when you have to fire guys, when you have to, you know, when you're recruiting whole offices, when you're firing whole offices, and anything in between that, like it's not that big of a deal because you're just gonna be like, my goal was to get there, and no matter what, we're getting to the top, we're getting to the summit.
Yeah. I love that, man. I love that. If I can speak to that actually a little bit, I don't know if you had a question,
No,
but you talking just about everything there like really brought something up for me that Greg and I talk about frequently, which is like staying true to your roots and whatever you're doing, being all in, right? And so, like for me, and this is to everybody listening, like this is to the people who are going for a golden door. These are the people that have earned it, the people that want it, like whatever. If you're gonna go for a golden door, be all in, right? Do the things that it takes to get a golden door. If that's not it, then like realign expectations and do the things that are calling you, right? I don't know, like this year, I am in door to door. And like that is my goal. And I'm doing it for my guys. I'm doing it because I have 40 friends and like 40 people that I love that need what this brought me. And so I'm in it. But next year, dude, I don't know if I'm going to be doing door to door. Like, I don't know what I'm going to be doing next year. Like, you might find me leading backpacking trips through the Himalayas. I don't know, dude. Like, I just know that wherever life takes me, I'm going to be all in. I'm going to be open to that opportunity. And it's something that I think actually like prevented me from being more open to door sales before I got brought into it was seeing these guys that I knew in high school or people I looked up to or even just people I found on Instagram and being like, dude, like what are you doing? You're just like slaving away over here. I would talk to them, they're like, yeah, I don't like it. I give up 4 months of my year, but then I can like drive a nice car. I'm like, dude, if you're not passionate about it, if this is not what your life is about, get out. Like, go do what you were supposed to be doing. And if that's to be here and be the best freaking door to door solar salesman on planet Earth, then like that is it. And stick in it and stay in it. Go start a company. Like, just go crush it. But if that's not like you, like just stay true to what's speaking to you. Right? I feel like that's kind of like the scariest part for a lot of people in door to door is like you come into it expecting to make like 20,000 and then suddenly you're making like hundreds if not millions of dollars a year and you're like, oh, how do I live without this? And you're like, dude, you'll live without it. Like just stay true to what's in your heart. Stay true to what you're supposed to be. If you've read The Alchemist, right? Like your personal legend, I think is what they call it. Like stay true to that, man. And like go find it, go do it, go crush it, and that'll take you like everywhere you need to go. I say that as a 22-year-old. Like I don't know, I've done that twice. But I'm sure I'll do it 50 more times in my lifetime, you know? So,
I love that. I want to keep going on that, but I want to get some rapid fire really quick. You cool?
yeah.
All right. Top books you've read?
Ooh, Alchemist, Sell or Be Sold. Right now, okay, The Illusion of Money by Kyle Cease. Get it on Audible. Super fast, super enjoyable. Will change your life and how you view money for the rest of your life.
Yeah, totally agree.
Cool.
Um, quotes you live by.
Do hard things and the Mount Analog. Yeah, it's a longer one. I won't like quote the whole thing right now, but go Google it. You cannot stay on the summit forever. It's what our office is named after. So
I love that. That's it. What's your financial goal this year?
financial goal,
Yeah,
1.2 million.
I hit that in 2018. Sorry,
Let's go.
it was the hardest year of my life.
I bet.
Everything changed after that.
Yeah, I'm ready for it.
Yeah, that was a wild year.
Yeah, I'm
That was
excited.
crazy. It was hard. That was very hard.
Yeah.
I wish I would have. I wish I would have had a. I wish I would have had. I wish I would have had the tax team and wealth strategist, my boy Eric, at that time, because holy crap, that was a tax bill.
Yeah, I bet. I was not ready for this past year. So
Yeah, 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 dude. I don't pay taxes like that anymore. I don't pay barely any taxes anymore. So
awesome.
that's a yeah. If you're paying taxes like that, you need to have a wealth strategist. Stop freaking paying. Listeners, got to listen up to this one. If you're paying taxes and you think your mother's uncle's brother's CPA's friend, uncle's cousin, second removed dog is your CPA, and you're making any type of money and you're paying any type of taxes, yeah, you're probably overpaying in taxes. You need to have someone that's not afraid of the IRS, and someone that actually knows the IRS is Starbucks order, and that's not afraid of the IRS, and that's beat the IRS. Yeah, I don't and does everything legal and above board. It's complicated, bro. It's complicated. You start making money like this, it gets complicated and you have to change. It is actually an attitude. It's an attitude thing it's a mindset towards money. People like you said, you came in making nothing and you just had a major tax bill. That's everybody, bro. Like, and it's funny because the guys that I coach, the guys in our mastermind, they want to know those exact things. Like, oh, Mikey, how do you have $20,000 passive income? How do you not pay taxes? How do you do that? It's like, well, first of all, we need to re-educate you on everything. So yeah, if you're paying taxes, any kind of serious taxes, and you're making great money and you're an entrepreneur, 1099, you're doing it wrong. The system is built for entrepreneurs. The whole system of America's capitalism is built for entrepreneurs. We don't have. It's not that you evade taxes, because that would be illegal. That's how they got Al Capone on. But you can avoid them legally, and you absolutely should, because you put the money back into the system. You put the money back in the system through investing into housing, energy, food, jobs. Dude, you're making America stronger. Like, you're making the economy stronger. You should absolutely get. I had to explain that to the lady on the plane today. She clearly did not agree with me on that, but I was like, I'm taking on all the risk, and I'm making jobs. So I don't know what to tell you. Housing, jobs, energy, and food. That's what the system's
Crazy.
for. So
Yeah.
well, cool, dude. I know that you had somewhere to go. Dude, we should probably jam again, dude. I have like 4 other questions that I want to ask you that is going to take like 30 minutes to do to an hour. What is your, let's end here. What is your fitness goal this year? I think that's one of the most important things. I have switched my, I've been nursing, that's my excuse, but it's true. I have been nursing some pretty significant tears and bruises and bumps in my body over the last few years, since 2019. Well, since for a while, since door to door. But since 2019, I started getting actual treatments for it. And, so I've gained a bunch of weight from doing that. I'm not like, the 215-pound shredded Mikey anymore. I'm back down to 230, but fitness is something that's really big and important to me. I'm really big into biohacking. I wanted to kind of go into that with you, but let's talk about your fitness goals. What does that look like, and why is that so important to you?
Yeah, I mean, breaking my back was like screeching halt. And so I am like fascinated by just like overall health and wellness, more than just like being able to bench like 3 plates or whatever like that. Like, that's cool, and like I for sure want to do that, but it's more like I want my body and my muscles to just like blend, and like I want to live till I'm old. I want to be happy. I don't want to get stuck with any kind of like diseases or stuff as I get older. And so in terms of like health goal, this year it's more of just like learning. Like, I want to learn more about the body. I want to learn about like what what I'm putting into it, what's like, and how that results in like energy and like what I'm able to get out of it, right? And so I don't know, I could tell you like the basics. Like, of course, I want
Yeah,
to get a
yeah.
six pack, like that sounds pretty fun. But more than that, I just want to expand my education and fitness as a whole and just become like a well person, you
Yeah.
know?
I like that. Have it was funny. I was telling somebody yesterday when I was in San Diego, I was like, yeah, I'm transitioning. I was doing stem cells. I was like, I'm transitioning from a human to Iron Man.
I love that.
So I do a lot of stem cells. So if you ever, if you want to jam on that offline, I'm really big supporter of a few doctors that do stem cell surgeries. So
Cool.
injections and stem cells. So if you need, if did you have to do surgery on your back or what was up with that?
No, I got lucky. I got really lucky. Yeah, I've just been healing. I'm supposed to be in a back brace right now, but my chiropractor says no. So I'm trusting that as opposed. So
Well, if you want, I can jam with you on that and show you my doctor. I had two bulging discs in my L4, L5, S1 were bulging. I don't have bulging discs anymore. Some of that did come through with a specialized Dr. John Fitzgerald out of Las Vegas. He has a specialized, and there's other doctors that do the same thing in the United States, but there's a specific type of chiropractic practice that he uses. He doesn't do cracking. He has this like gun that he realigns you with. It's freaking badass.
hmm,
And it's just as expensive as a normal treatment, but it actually realigned me because my body was so off that like you could try to like make your like if for instance my left bicep was smaller than my right bicep growing up, so I started working one extra set or one extra rep every time with my left bicep, so now they're equal or roughly equal. And it's the same thing in your body. If your back's out or your first rib is out or your ribs are tight, whatever, your back is tight, like it's going to pull against your body. So getting your body realigned is super important, and doing the cracking way I think is like the worst thing that people can do for themselves after doing research on that. So
hmm,
if you have questions on that, just DM me and I'll tell you all that stuff if you're listening to that. But anyways, I would definitely go down and get some stem cells like as soon as possible. It's very inexpensive. It's an inexpensive way, and it's obviously 10 times better than doing surgery, especially in your case. You don't need to do surgery. You can literally go there. And right now, I mean, I tore my pec minor during COVID.
hmm.
And I mean, it was like bad. I was bench pressing in the gym in my house in my garage with my team. And yeah, like the music was loud and they could hear it tear. And bro, I was in a sling for a long time. Thank God 2 or 3 weeks later, I was going down there already. I already had time to schedule to go down there. Dude, I'm benching 225, 12, 15 times again right now. And no pain whatsoever.
So dope.
So my ankle had a level 1, level 2 tear. I can run. I've ran 2 5Ks with my wife, and I can squat. I can do everything, and I couldn't. They told me I had to go do surgery,
Hmm.
and I literally just got shots in my ankle, stem cell shots in my ankle.
Sick.
At this time, they're currently $400 a shot for 7 million stem cells. So $400 a shot. I did a $400 shot in my ankle. The most I ever did was $1,200 shots. I did 3 vials in my ankle. I did 400, 800, 21, 400, $400, $800, $1,200. So 7 million, 14 million, 21 million stem cells. And then I went 14 million back to 7 million. So I only did a $400 shot in my ankle this time and a $200 shot in my back, $200 shots in my wrist. Like I'm good. I've had not carpal tunnel, but arthritis and really bad wrists from snowboarding, breaking
Hmm.
and spraining wrists, stuff like that. So if you ever want to know about that, I'd love to jam with you offline on that. So I'm really big into biohacking. If you don't do Viome, in the show notes below, I'll put my link there. You could get, I think it's like, I don't know, 10 or 15% off. You get like, I'm an affiliate for them. So if you want to try Viome, it's a gut intelligence test. I bought it for my whole team as an incentive. You should do it. Absolutely do it. I mean, your gut intelligence is your gut biome is like the most important thing one of the most important things when it comes to your health, your overall health, that you need to get a hold of if you're going to become the Iron Man and become the best athlete you possibly can be. Because I think as door-to-door sales professionals, we are athletes. So
Yeah.
I think it's super important, especially for longevity, which is important, which is what you want. Obviously, you're not working this hard to go make much money so that you have to sit in the bed. I'm sure you want to get picked up on the yacht and go sail.
That'd be cool.
you're going to be down in like Costa Rica. And I'm like, yo, Josh, I'm leaving Hawaii and we're thinking about going to Costa Rica. So if you want to come kick it with your girl and we'll, oh yeah, I'm going to America. Cool. We're going up there too. Whatever.
Yeah, we'll get there, man. We'll get there.
I love it. All right, dude. Let me end that and end with this. And is there any final words you have for the Golden Door Award winners, for the listeners?
Man, get out there and crush it. We're at the beginning. It's always hard, when you're at the start. But I don't know, just think about how it felt last year, and that'll get you to the end this year. Do hard things.
Yeah, let's go. Where can we find you, Josh?
I'm not crazy on anything, just Instagram, the Josh Box 2 underscores. It's a long story behind that one, but yeah, just the Josh Box, Joshua Earle.
Awesome. We'll put your stuff in the show notes below as well.
Cool.
All right, Josh, it's been a pleasure, bro. Dude, I have 2 pages worth of notes right here. I wrote on the top, this kid is an animal.
I love that. Thank you. Appreciate it, Mikey.
Yes, sir. All right, brother. We'll chat with you soon, and God bless you, bro. And looking forward to seeing you on stage again this year.
Sounds good. We'll see you then.
All right. Bye-bye.